Hi, I'm Zita Janji. I'm head of Microsoft D365 at Digital Gurus, and welcome to our International Women's Day series where we are shining a light on women in the Microsoft and D365 space. And today I'm very excited to be joined by Janet Robb. Janet, can you please introduce yourself?
Yes. So first of all, thank you for having me. Everybody hopefully knows me as hopefully an absolute feminist. So I'm Janet. I've been in the Microsoft ecosystem 27, nearly 30 years now. And I would suppose I'd call myself a adoption specialist, specializing in technology adoption. And I've just turned 50. So there is a reason for telling you that. I'll come to that in a second, but very grateful to be here.
Amazing, amazing. And Janet, you have a very unique background and you've grown through adversity. Can you just tell us a little bit about that, please?
Yes. So like everybody, and I do, but I talk about the backpack of life. Everybody's got a backpack, and we don't know what's in people's backpacks. Um, I I got very, very ill in my mid-30s. Hence, I'm saying I'm now 50. So the last 15 years or so of my life have been hard work, hard work. I contracted Lyme's disease. I was misdiagnosed. Um, I was very, very ill. That left me paralyzed fully on the right side of my face. So I have a facial paralysis now. So battling Lyme's disease, which took such a long time and so hard to get treatment, and I would say I don't have Lyme's disease anymore. I would say I would have what's my body's left with. So when I get sick, I get very, very sick. So COVID knocked me for six, like it did for many people. I've also broken neck in that period of time. I've had severe spinal surgery, but and also I'm dyslexic, and neurodiversity is big at the minute, and it should be. But life wasn't easy. I left school with no qualifications. I was meant to work in a shop. And by the way, nothing wrong with working in a shop. I think I would love it because I get to talk all day. Um, no job is better than anybody else's job, just so you know.
Mhm.
But it's been a struggle, and there's been many times where I've been made redundant quite a few times as well, when you just think life's too hard and your backpack is so big. I used to joke that, well, it's not a joke, that a woman can do anything with a spare pair of knickers and a bottle of talc. And the reason I say that is I just used to sweat. I was just so exhausted all the time and kept trying, and just felt my life was illness, medication, work, sleep. That was my life for many, many years. And losing the function of your face as a woman and a man, but I think we all understand, as a woman it is quite shattering. It's quite shattering. And I think you might be asking me a bit more questions about that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I guess in terms of that, so how did you navigate through that, Janet, going through all that and having those big roles that you have had?
um there was a lot of self-pity at times. There was a lot of, this won't, we have massive waves, ups and downs of, 28 tablets a day, and still going to work. I worked for Microsoft at the time. I remember being in Barcelona at a conference going, looking for the lifts and looking for the escalators because I couldn't make the stairs. When people went out for dinner, to do the networking, I was lying like a starfish on the bed, face planted, just struggling. But the biggest struggle I actually had, Zita, was getting medical help. My
Mm.
condition wasn't very well known. And then also, when I lost the function in my face, I was told very abruptly, we can't do anything for you. You just need to live with that. And when I talk about the losing the function of the face, I mean my ability to see and speak, the nerve pain, the When it's cold, my face completely freezes and I have to breathe out this side of my mouth. You can't shower because you can't fully shut your eye. I've had platinum weights embedded in my eyelid to stretch it. I've had my face removed twice to try and sever nerves. I've lost count of my amount of operations. In Northern Ireland, where I'm from Belfast, there is no treatment for facial palsy. So I don't know how it happened, Zita, but I decided that that was absolute BS.
Hmm.
And I did some research. I kicked in a few doors. I threatened some legal action, which is really exhausting when you're already ill. And I've been campaigning now for 11, 12 years for facial services, not just in Northern Ireland, but in the United Kingdom. And that was a role I never wanted, but was a role that I had to do. One, to get myself the treatment I needed, but I now run a support group with over 300 people on it and of a condition that apparently doesn't exist. And there's 62 reasons why you can come to a facial paralysis: brain tumors, cancer, birth, pregnancy, Ramsay Hunt, Lyme's disease. And all of those are very serious conditions.
Hmm.
And people focus on the primary, but don't focus on the secondary, which would be the damage to the facial nerve. So my goal has been to create a facial palsy multidisciplinary clinic in Northern Ireland. And this year, I was able to get secure funding for 2 facial therapists, and that's just the start. It's taken, and I'm hoping now it's started, and we get to see the numbers. But it's been a difficult journey. It's been one I didn't want, and one I really hope one day I can give up, because living with it is really hard, especially in today's society where everything is image related. Um, and people will say, "Oh, I think you look fine." I don't look anything like I used to look. And I get 48 Botox injections every couple of months just to maintain a level of symmetry, the ability to see and to contain nerve pain. And you do all that with your laptop and carry on. And it's
Mm.
exhausting. Um, so, yeah, that's kind of my story.
Yeah, and it is incredible. And I think you are amazing for going through that, but also not standing for it. And the legacy that you're going to leave and the people that you're going to help is just going to be incredible. So, power to you, Janet, definitely. So,
Thank
thank you so much for sharing that. And how would you say that you've brought those experiences into the workplace?
So one thing about is when you go through the fire, there's a very, you go to the fire when you're a piece of pottery, you get harder and you get tougher, and you suddenly realize that you survive, and you'll survive. If there's a famous saying, it hasn't killed you, it's made you stronger, and it has made me stronger. Too strong sometimes, I think.
Mhm.
Um, I think that I've lost the fear. I've lost the fear of, not saying, being frightened to say what I really think. And I don't mean I go in and kick tables over and fly things about the place, but it's taught me when something's wrong and I feel something's wrong, and we all know when something's wrong, when you hear something being said to somebody, or you see behavior different to somebody because of either their age, their sex, their religion, whatever it is, you feel it when you know it's wrong. And I've started quite a few years ago, just calling it out. And it's very surprising when you call it out, the amount of people that suddenly start agreeing with you. It takes somebody the confidence
Yeah.
and the lack of fear. And I don't have the fear because I know I'll survive. I have been in the pits. I have been so ill and have had no job and have, been really struggling to keep ends meet. And I've survived. So I'll survive the next day.
Yeah.
So when you give somebody else in the room the confidence to say, no, that's not right. Or hold on a minute, are you having a giraffe? And
Mm.
sometimes people don't even know they've done it because of unconscious bias, because that's the way they've always done it. And it gives them the opportunity to go, oh, right, okay. So I always have this saying, nobody gets out of bed to be an
Mm.
okay. Nobody gets out of bed to do that. Well, I don't know anybody that does. So always give people the opportunity to go, oh, right, okay, thanks. I'll let me fix it. But when they don't fix it, maybe the 17th time you've raised it, that's when maybe the chairs start going. I've never thrown a chair in my life, but that's when I start to get louder. Always give
Yeah.
somebody an opportunity to fix it, and if they don't fix it, stand strong. And when I've discovered when you stand strong, people will stand with you.
Mm. And I guess in terms of channeling all of that into more of a day-to-day setting as well, because you do things differently, and I think that's why you've been and are so successful in what you do in your work. What are some of those examples that you can give?
So I many years ago when I got made redundant the first time, it's nearly like I've made a career out of that. When I made redundant the first time, I was very, very ill,
Mm.
and I didn't have two beans to rub together. Well, if I did, they needed to go on a mortgage and rent, or mortgage and food. So, and again, it comes down to the gut. And just because some big company is doing something doesn't mean that you can't do it. And this was pre Eventbrite. Basically, I had a spreadsheet and I wanted to learn. And I think I have a lot of good smarts around technology adoption, the processes people go through, and bringing the people to the center of that. I've got that, but I needed a bit more smarts under particularly new technologies that were coming. In those days, Power Platform wasn't even out and about. It was still D365, but we were
Mm.
getting lots more versions of that. So myself and a few really good lads got together through LinkedIn, through having a rant on LinkedIn, and we decided to start our own conference and give 100 tickets, because I thought I can give my smarts for free, and those guys over there are going to do their smarts for free. And therefore, and we started this thing called 365 Saturday,
Mm.
and we did it in London. And then I went, do this in Dublin and use my connections in Dublin. And it was all cost neutral. We did have a few sponsors in those days, but it paid for people to fly over. And I think that it within the year it was in 48 countries. And it comes back to doing the right thing and believing that one person, one
Mhm.
individual, can make a difference. You just have to give it a go.
Mm.
I've had women come up to me who have seen me giving it a go, and I've been really busy, and this person had been trying to talk to me, and they tried 3 or 4 times, and I'm running around like a headless chicken at a conference. And she came over, and she'll know who she is if she listens to this. And she stamped her foot and she said, "You have to talk to me. You have to help me. I need this and I want to do this." Slightly intimidated, I went, "Right, okay, I've got 10, 15 minutes now. Let's talk." She wanted to make a difference. She wanted to do a training course for women. She didn't have the network at that time, but I did.
Mm.
So she made it happen. And that's what it takes sometimes a stamp of the foot or a shout or get something to look at me and make me do it. But you can do it. Any individual can make a difference. And I learned that from adversity.
Mhm.
And just because it's always been done that way does not mean that it was always the right way. It might have been the right way 37 years ago, but it ain't the right way now. So we are entitled to change. And just to believe in work, things can change. People can make a difference by just calling it out or saying something or saying this process would be better if we did it this way. Everybody's got a voice.
Mm.
Everybody's got those smarts. Not That's why we are better as a team than individuals. So I think through adversity, I have learned to go, well, sure, what's the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
I
It's just
fail. Oh well.
So true. So true. No, I love that. And obviously, 365 Saturdays has been such a success in the Dynamics community, and you're very much at the heart of that, Janet. So, yeah, massive respect for that. And in terms of, we spoke about this, about moving the dial.
Mm.
What do you think it takes to move the dial?
So when we were chatting, I
Mhm.
confessed I'm a bit of, I don't know what I've turned into. I've got old, I'm now officially middle-aged and I listen to podcasts, but my podcasts are not true crime. They are history podcasts. I love a good, see when the history new one lands, I am so excited. And one of the couple of the podcasts that I've been listening to are about the suffragettes. And every International Women's Day, they throw out the suffragettes. Well, here's the thing, I'm passionate about them because without them, you and I probably wouldn't have these seats. And it was, we've had the vote for well over 100 years and it's become the norm. But we aren't equal. We are not equal. If we were equal, the government would insist on pay gap stuff to be thrown out. We know that we're not equal. But International Women's Day, we all flick out and we all, talk about it and then we go quiet. And hopefully people that know me know that I have never gone quiet on this subject because I believe that we are better together.
Mhm.
Teams that have women, actually teams that have more women in them over teams that have less women actually do better. And therefore we need women at the center of things, especially with AI. How our AI is being modeled, who's testing it? If you don't have the mindset or understanding what it is to be a woman in that testing area, then you can't do it. You can't do it. And you need us there. So your question was moving the dial.
Mhm.
First things first. Let's not just have International Women's Day once a year or cover it in the month. It needs to be done. And this is why I talk about the suffragettes. They were very polite for a
Mhm.
very long time. They knocked the door and they said, "Excuse me, any chance, you know, hello?" And they did that and they did that and they did that and they did that. And you know what? They got cast away. And I'm not saying we go and put bombs in letterboxes and we smash windows and we chase MPs around golf courses. Okay? What those women suffered in prison was phenomenally horrific. But we do need to stand up louder. We do need to be asked the difficult questions. And here's the thing, we talked about this. Women get described as difficult.
Mhm.
Are they though? Are
Mhm.
they just pointing out something that makes you feel uncomfortable? So, and I had a friend, I was debating this with a friend earlier this week as well, and she said to me, "But Janet, you're 50, I know I keep mentioning my age, and you're a wee bit more financially secure, and you've hardened yourself. It's maybe not so easy for women starting off in their career to be the difficult people.
Mhm.
So join in. So I'll take that on board, but my question is this. If you see it, you call it out. Every organization will have an ability to say things anonymously, but
Mhm.
if you're brave enough, call it out personally. And when you don't get the answer that you need, call it out again. Call it out again. I have seen it work where somebody has just asked a simple question and they've been dismissed. And then another woman asked the same question and it's been dismissed. But then a third woman had the nerve to stand up and go back to their point. We have to be at the table. So
Mhm.
that is calling it out and not just going to the women's lunch and getting your network stronger, which is great,
Mhm.
but you have to actually challenge and make sure that question why are the women not on the board? Ask who was that interview panel that employed all of those people, were they all men? Because you know what? That means there isn't diversity and there isn't somebody bringing something else to the table. So ask for diverse interview panels. Ask for individual businesses to give you a reason. And again, we were talking before, women of color are even
Mm.
more invisible. So the question is, how do you move the dial? And you need to
Mm.
do it safely, but I think we need to be more suffragette-like. We need to be making people feel uncomfortable. And that's not me being difficult. That's me helping your organization, because it is believed that if we have more females on boards, that we will bring over 150 million to, because of our diversity, our better decision making. All of these facts are accurate, but why are we not doing it? And if somebody throws me the story of women, leave because they have babies, just see what happens, because you need to make it safe for women to come back, because they will strengthen your business. They will strengthen your decision-making process. They can only bring good. Sorry, I go off on a rant.
No, it's amazing. Thanks so much, Janet. And I guess to tie it all off, what would be one final last piece of advice or takeaway that you would like to share today?
I have been scared so many times in my life, and I've been worried about, I've seen something that's not right, or I know things can be done better, but I'm scared. I'm scared, or have been scared. And my piece of advice is just do it. And that's really pathetic advice. Know that you'll survive.
Yeah.
Know that nobody gets out of bed to just, to be nasty or disrespectful, and people are willing to listen. But go with the problem, but also go with a solution. Don't just be the person that says, this is wrong, you fix it. This is wrong, let me help you fix it. But the minute it feels wrong in your tummy, we all know what that feels like. We've all seen it. Men have seen it too. This isn't just a woman. Yeah. This is call it out. Call it out in a way that you feel that you can do it. But let me tell you, you'll survive. And you'll do better.
Yeah. No, thank you so much, Janet. I appreciate you being extremely honest, very raw. So thank you so much. And you're such a great advocate for the women in Microsoft community. And we appreciate your support in this service. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I really enjoyed chatting. And anybody that wants to reach out to discuss it or build a network, I'm always up for a chat, as you know.
Thanks, Janet.